Welcome back, everyone, to Story of the Apex. Today, we bring you the second and last part of our saga about Julius Caesar's life. In part 1, we talked about his early years in politics, the formation of the first triumvirate, and his initial campaigns in Hispania and Gaul. If you haven't watched it yet, we'd like to invite you to do so. You can enjoy the full experience. The video link will be in the description. Without further ado, let's continue with part 2. Please enjoy it. The battles in the Gallic Wars were a massacre. Caesar razed entire villages and exterminated Gallic tribes in search of great spoils. Multiple battles were fought: the Battle of Bibracte, the Battle of the Sambre River, as well as an invasion of Suebi that Caesar easily defeated. All of these performances are the subject of study today. Finally, when the Gallicos saw the arrival of an immense fleet of Roman ships, and after suffering multiple defeats despite having a numerical advantage, they decided to surrender and recognize the sovereignty of the Roman Republic. This campaign gave him a lot of prestige since he had taken his legions to the end of the known world. Because of it, his soldiers chanted him a powerful word: Imperator. However, this was not the end of the war against the Gallic peoples. Crassus, one of the members of the Triumvirate, died in Syria, and from this point on the relationship between Pompey and Caesar became strained, thanks to his incredible feat in Gaul. After pacifying the Gallic lands, Caesar confronted the Germanic tribes that had entered the territory. To prevent another invasion like that of the Suebi, he burned villages and devastated the land as a warning. In less than 2 weeks, he constructed a wooden bridge across the Rhine River, allowing his legions to cross into Germanic territory. This only showed the sheer determination of Caesar to achieve his goals and strengthened his reputation as a formidable leader. Without wasting time, Caesar sought to launch another great conquest when he targeted an island named Britannia, even further north of Gaul, where he led 2 successful campaigns. However, before he could celebrate these victories, the Roman presence had to withdraw due to the emergence of a huge threat. The Gallic tribes, extremely angry at the treatment they had received and taking advantage of Julius Caesar's absence, organized themselves under the command of a military genius who would challenge the Imperator. His name was Vercingetorix, leader of all the tribes of Gaul. Vercingetorix defeated the little Roman resistance before Caesar's arrival, and he dealt Caesar his first defeat at the Battle of Gergovia, a feeling Julius Caesar had never experienced before. Their final encounter was at the Battle of Alesia, where the Imperator had his men raise defenses in record time after seeing tens of thousands of Gauls arrive in support of his enemy. The battle was intense, with Caesar building a second outer ring of fortifications to defend against external attacks. This double line of fortifications stretched for over 20 kilometers, with towers, ditches and traps designed to thwart any assault. Caesar's cavalry, commanded by his lieutenants, managed to break the Gallic ranks outside the fortifications, creating chaos among the attackers. Meanwhile, the Roman legions held firm against the desperate attack of the Gauls besieged in Alesia. The failure of the Gallic relief force to break through and the exhaustion of resources within Alesia led to a crisis for the Gauls. Realizing the futility of further resistance, Vercingetorix made a crucial decision for the greater good of his people. He surrendered to Caesar, hoping to secure leniency for the Gauls. Vercingetorix's surrender at Alesia marked the end of both the siege and the Gallic wars. Laying his arms at Caesar's feet, he conceded defeat to the Roman forces. It is estimated that Caesar's army killed 500,000 Gauls throughout the entirety of the campaign. During his raucous celebration upon his return to Rome in 46 BC, Julius Caesar paraded Vercingetorix around the city while he was restrained like a trophy. Furthermore, Vercingetorix's procession featured a caravan of war booty, which comprised treasures, rare creatures, and objects highly esteemed in Gaulish culture. This triumph was intended to showcase the Republic's greatest victory and, above all, to make a powerful statement of Caesar's dominance. Julius Caesar achieved what no one else had. His success had expanded the Roman Republic exponentially, but he knew that his time as consul was nearing its end, and as expected, upon returning to Rome, Pompey, who no longer identified himself as an ally of Julius Caesar, demanded that he and the Senate disband his army. Caesar requested an extension, but with the Senate in Pompey's pocket, it was declined. If Caesar did not comply, he would be declared an enemy of Rome, and troops would be sent to finish him off. The only way to save himself is the one that Julius Caesar bet everything on. The last ace up his sleeve was the invasion of Italy. Crossing the Rubicon River, which marks the modest but important border between Gaul and Italy, was the first stage in this process. He had a lot of thought to put into the decision. If he didn't cross this river with his army, it would be the end of his political career or worse. Aleia Iacta est, which translates to "the die is cast," is what Caesar declared after spending hours reflecting on his soldiers, his allegiance to Rome, and the honor of the Republic. Following this declaration, Caesar led his armies across the Rubicon. A civil war broke out at that very moment, changing the course of history and the Roman Republic forever. Aware of Caesar's achievements in the Gallic Wars, Pompey chose to leave Rome and flee to Greece, fearing the power and influence Caesar had gained, rather than staying where he might have had a greater chance of defeating him. With the Senate leader evading Caesar, the latter leads his army through Rome without opposition until he reaches the capital, declaring himself a protector of Rome against dishonest senators and politicians. Here we see the political audacity and military triumphs of Julius Caesar consummated in a single act when he is finally named Dictator of the Roman Republic for the first time. Knowing that he must not leave any loose ends, Caesar, now Dictator, begins to hunt down Pompey through the Mediterranean. He returns to Hispania to defeat 8 Pompeian legions in the Battle of Ilerda, leaving his right-hand man, Mark Antony, in charge in Italy. After eliminating Pompey's ranks in Hispania, he confronts him in Greece, where the fierce commander awaits him with an army. He passes the victory of Dyrrhachium, where Pompey inflicts the second defeat of Julius Caesar. Still, with only a month of distance, Julius Caesar returns the favor in the Battle of Pharsalus, despite his numerical inferiority. Nonetheless, Pompey survives and flees to Egypt by sea, pursued by all of Caesar's force. What they found in Egypt was something not very different from the situation in Rome, only this time it was 2 brothers in dispute, Ptolemy XIII and Cleopatra VII. Caesar and Pompey must choose a side to support. Pompey decides to back Ptolemy, and Caesar joins the shrewd and beautiful Cleopatra. But for Pompey, his downfall came at the hands of Ptolemy, who betrayed him because Julius Caesar seemed the most likely victor in the civil war. However, this does not win him any favors with Caesar, so Cleopatra and Julius Caesar stage an epic defense in Alexandria. In 47 BC, Caesar receives reinforcements from his allies, and now with Cleopatra as his lover, they confront Ptolemy in the Battle of the Nile and defeat him. Ptolemy attempted to flee but drowned in the Nile River while trying to escape, ending the conflict immediately. The alliance between Julius Caesar and Cleopatra was tactical and beneficial to both parties. Caesar amassed wealth, status and political clout throughout the Mediterranean, and with his backing, Cleopatra cemented her hold on power in Egypt. In addition to entwining their political futures and strengthening their positions in Egypt and Rome, their alliance offered stability and protection. Their son Caesarion was born into this union. With Pompey dead, Caesar expanded Rome's territories, uttering his famous phrase, Veni, Vidi, Vici, which translates as, "I came, I saw, I conquered." But Pompey's legacy would still have reprisals on Caesar. Pompey's sons, called Neo and Sextus, kept the civil war alive along with several generals who defended the Pompeian cause. The Battle of Thapsus marks the beginning of the end for the Pompeian army as Caesar takes over North Africa. Pompey's sons moved to Hispania and started a strong rebellion. Thus, the final battle of the Civil War takes place in the same place where his political and military rise began. The Battle of Munda, was the hardest in Julius Caesar's career. Caesar's army faced off against the forces commanded by Neo, Pompey's son, in a risky and closely contested battle. The situation was so uncertain that Julius Caesar reportedly contemplated suicide due to the likelihood of defeat. But after all, Caesar's troops became victorious, and Neo Pompey was killed. The dictator was the ultimate winner of the civil war, which had finally ended. Upon returning to Rome, Caesar noticed that his supporters began to question him, a dispute that remains yet to answer. Did Caesar wish to become emperor? He was the only one to assume the role of dictator and maintain it indefinitely. But history has not revealed the answer, whatever it may have been. Close associates of Julius Caesar painstakingly plotted his murder on March 15, 44 BC, during a Senate meeting. Key conspirators, Cassius Longinus and Brutus, garnered sufficient backing from the senators, who were wary of Caesar's expanding authority and possible monarchy. Caesar's dictatorship came to an end when the Senate encircled and attacked him, stabbing him several times before he passed away from his wounds. This event was a crucial turning point in Roman history. According to the story, Caesar's last words were in Greek, saying, "Kai Su Teknon," which translates as "you too, son," and were directed at Brutus, whom Caesar appreciated. His body is said to have lain lifeless in front of a statue of Pompey, his greatest enemy. But despite this, the conspirators' efforts were ultimately futile due to Caesar's legacy. Caesar established the foundation for the future of the Roman government by proving that Rome could reach previously unheard-of heights under the direction of a capable leader. His passing only hastened the Roman Republic's demise and made room for Augustus, his adopted heir, to ascend to prominence and build the Roman Empire. Caesar emerged victorious in the final power struggle, even in the face of betrayal, and he left behind an empire that would go on to become one of the most important in human history, influencing global affairs for generations to come. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Thank you all for watching. If there's a historical figure you'd like to see featured next, or if you have any thoughts to share, feel free to leave a comment below. I'll see you in the next video.